Hello everyone, my name is Manolis Spinorilakis, the founder and producer of Reality Crowd TV, and welcome to Reality Crowd TV's Crowdfunding Office Hours, Episode 6. The purpose of Crowdfunding Office Hours is to help individuals who are seeking to learn how to crowdfund, who are hearing about crowdfunding for the first time, who have general questions about equity crowdfunding and how that might change the landscape of raising capital for small businesses, and really as a resource for anyone who has a question to come in and get positive feedback in order to help them succeed in the future. Before I introduce our wonderful guests today, and we do have many of them here with us right now, I'd like to just share with you all a few ground rules. On every episode, if you follow the circle of Reality Crowd TV, you'll be able to participate in the actual Q&A application and ask any questions of not only us on the show, but anyone in the audience. You can ask questions about them and their business as well. Additionally, we have all of our sponsors listed in the Google event copy, and the Google event copy is there to kind of show you all the people that are making this happen. You as the viewers, we would truly appreciate you going on Twitter and looking at the @RealityCrowdTV Twitter page and retweeting the live broadcast link of this show so that everyone, from the entrepreneurs on the show to the sponsors who support the show, and finally to the show audience itself, if you retweet all the messages on Reality Crowd TV's page, we would truly appreciate that and we would expand the audience greatly. With that said, I'd like everyone to begin introducing themselves. So we have our first guest, Houston Gunn. And Houston, thank you for joining us, and please introduce yourself.
Absolutely, and thank you for having me. Well, I'm Houston Gunn, and I'm a 17-year-old entrepreneur. I've published 2 books called Schooled for Success and Shooting for Success. And my first book, believe it or not, was endorsed by Donald Trump, and my second book just got endorsed pretty recently by ABC, Shark Tank, Barbara Copeland.
Wow, that is huge. That is some amazing connections you've built up, Houston. And
thank you.
You're remarkable because you're only 17 years old and you've published 2 books. Most people will never publish a book. So it's great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And our next guest, chronological order, we have Frank Spalding from Crowdfunding Magazine. And Frank, please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Manolis. Howdy, everybody. My name is Frank Spalding. I'm the CEO at Crowdfunding Magazine. We're a new magazine supporting the crowdfunding industry, providing education and support and news to people who are looking to crowdfund, people within the industry, keeping track of what's going on with the Jobs Act, new ventures. We're also reaching out for strategic partnerships and starting to provide a great deal of news and information from around the world.
Excellent. Yes, and we're very excited to team up with you in Crowdfunding Magazine, Frank, because on August 7th we're having a pitch competition to really help people learn how to pitch their ideas that eventually will be crowdfunded. So we really appreciate the alliance that we form with each other. So thank you. Thank you. And then, of course, I have one of my most loyal viewers and an individual who has done so many great things in the medical arena. We have Dale Kensock. And Dale, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Dale Kensock. I basically I'm a medical research specialist. I do work for cancer. Cancer, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. Basically, what I do is I'll take a person's tissues or tissue sample for like cancer and send them back to the doctor and basically map all their genomic markers, and they can better treat the patients. So.
Correct.
Wonderful. Yes, and again, I can't say enough about you, Dale. You're just such a great guy. You supported us from day one. So again, thank you again for joining us.
No problem.
See you later, Dale.
And Paul, actually, yeah, we can hear you, Paul.
Yeah.
And actually, you're up now. Actually, Paul, can you please introduce yourself to the audience?
To Dale. How you doing? I'm Paul Newtall. I again was 3-time kickboxing champion in a Texas area. That's when Chuck Norris had the WKA organization, and him and Ken Norton was teamed up for that organization in the 90s. I think it was real popular back then. Also turned pro boxing in 1997 with the Birds out of Flint, Michigan. So I became just a sparring partner for Chris Bird and training with him, getting him prepared for all of his fights where Rez Vander Holyfield and whatnot. Then I started going to Big Bear, California, training with Hassing Rockman, David Tua, getting them prepared for fights. Also have a book that's called Three-Time World Kickboxing Champion, the memoirs, and just doing a lot of things like, now investing into marketing, whatnot, movies that I'm in with the Boogeyman Bedtime Stories, a TV series that I'm a bodyguard driver of now. That's on Sci-Fi in a couple of months. So I'm just doing it all, so
Sweet.
with the show and trying to get more knowledge of the game and stuff like that. So
Wonderful. Paul, you have such an interesting history with everything you're involved in, from the kickboxing to the newest endeavors you have. So we're honestly grateful that you came. Our guest from last week, and I want to see if his audio is working. Chris, is your audio working at the moment? Oh, looks like it might not be working yet, and we cannot hear you yet, Chris. You might want to rejoin and just double check, make sure the volume on your computer is not on mute or something like that. But now I'd like to ask you all. So you all came here for a reason. Our show is about crowdfunding. So our purpose is really to help people understand it. So I guess, Paul, what would you like to get out of this show today?
Just to learn more about the show, try to get more details on the fact of what's going on with the show, and trying to reach out more, just not to myself, but to the public, and re-announce the things and knowledge of the game and stuff of that nature.
Cool. And Houston, what were you looking to get out of the show today?
Well, I'd say my big question is really how crowdfunding can really go with the books. That's really just my big question. So.
Okay, crowdfunding for authors, excellent. Frank, I know you're part of the team who's going to help us answer the questions, but was there anything that you particularly were trying to get out of the show today?
No, just getting to know more people and help spread the word of crowdfunding in general.
Awesome. And then Dale, did you have any specific things you wanted to get answered? Any specific questions that you had for the show?
No, not really. I just want to learn more about crowdfunding, and as we're going here, so it's continual learning experience.
Wonderful. Okay, so you know what? Let's start with you, Houston, because I know you have another appointment at 2 o'clock. So I want to be, cognizant of your time. So you've already published 2 books, and I guess I'll ask you a few questions. What are your challenges in distributing your books right now? Because you obviously have 2 great books, you have some high quality endorsements, but are you what are your challenges as far as being an author? Is it hard to get the word out, or what are your challenges as far as that's concerned?
Well, I wouldn't say with social media nowadays it's not that hard to get the word out, and I have been doing pretty well with distribution with Amazon, and I've been doing some book tours, and I'm about to go out on another one with Barnes & Noble. It's just more lanes and more opportunities for greater distribution, and I see that's where crowdfunding can come in.
Yes.
I got an answer for Chris on that. If you allow me, go ahead.
Yeah, go for it, Paul.
I have I don't know if you heard of Pam McMullen, right, out of London. Book company, publishing company out of London. You probably need to look them up.
No, I haven't heard of them.
Yeah, Pam McMullen is one of the best big book publishing companies in the world that everybody wants to get with, which who I'm with right now. They turn nonfiction and fictions into possible movies, like mine, so to speak. And they do a lot of good contracts and stuff, and they've been out since 19 or something, and they are one of the best book companies in the world, Pam McMullen out of London. That's what everybody wants to get book published at, but they need an agent, which my Second Chance organization is an agent to help others be victorious for gifted Americans, and that helps get the book published where it needs to be at. Then I have people on board as well to say, okay, I like this book, or I don't like this book, and once they get it published, then it's contract signed and things of that nature. So I think, if you want to get it all out there, I think that'll be the best thing to do, as far as, the best book company in the world.
Okay, what was their name again?
Pam McMullen.
What was that?
Pam McMullen out of London.
Pam McMullen? Okay.
Book.
Thank you.
Awesome. So, as far as some other resources for you, Houston, in particular, there is a crowdfunding platform specifically for books that we know very well, and they're actually sponsors of the show. It is pubslush.com, and they're 100% only for authors. They have a publishing arm. They do crowdfunding for audiobooks. So they're building an ecosystem specifically for books. So if you were to go to pubslush.com, and I'd have to probably spell that for you in the chat bar, but they would be the ones who I know are just 100% focused on books. However, that is not your only option. There's a lot of different platforms out there, and another one of our sponsors is Headfunder, and we have Chris Labonte. And so, Chris, we didn't give you a chance to introduce yourself because I know you're having some technical difficulties, but can you introduce yourself to the audience and also to Houston?
Hello. Hi, Houston. I'm Chris. Hello, audience. I'm Chris. I'm the co-founder of Headfunder. Nolan is on its way right now. He's a little late, but he's my partner. Thanks for having me on the show, Manolis. I apologize for the technical difficulties I was having earlier. I think it was on Google's side, not mine, because my mic seems to be working now. So I'm glad it's working. So. Great.
So that's excellent. So you're probably wondering, you know that there's websites out there, but Houston, you're probably wondering, like, how does it work? Like, how would I get started on this process? Is that probably a question you have?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I have a presentation that we can do later, but in a nutshell, I'll tell you what's currently not the right thing to do, and it'll also help you realize what the right thing to do is. So what's happening in crowdfunding, and the purpose of why we're having crowdfunding office hours, is because whenever people hear of crowdfunding, they have a great idea one day, and a week later they're going to these crowdfunding websites and just launching their campaign, thinking that that they're going to, like, raise all this money through the internet angels, right? Like, people are just going to come running to them and give them money. That, unfortunately, does not happen nearly. I mean, it happens once in a while in extreme cases where it's a viral product or service, but for most people, that is a recipe for failure. So to give you an indication, when crowdfunding started back in 2009, the success rates were upwards towards 60%. Flash forward to 2013, 2014, we're now looking at success rates of only 43%, and they keep going down.
Wow.
So that's why it's important to realize that crowdfunding is a marketing and communication strategy that needs to be executed 3 to 6 months before anyone ever clicks the fundraise button. And so when you as an entrepreneur, Houston, you could probably see some similarities to what you do regularly, because you've wrote books on entrepreneurship, so you know that success doesn't come in a day. It takes hard work. And so, can you relate to that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It would simply be another avenue for you to take, but it would be a strategy to be implemented, not some magical place where money just kind of falls from the sky.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I guess then, where would you get started, right? Every crowdfunding campaign, 3 to 6 months before it ever starts, has around 9 stages that we've personally identified through our own efforts to crowdfund our own show about crowdfunding. So through our own efforts, we've identified 9 stages. And so I'll just tell you the 9 stages, and I'll open it up to other people. But you would start with a business plan. You would secure intellectual property if you needed to secure intellectual property, such as building a corporation, a LLC, trademarks, patents, copyrights, all those things. You would begin to build your social media momentum in your crowd. You would come up with a PR strategy. You would develop a campaign strategy that you would then use to figure out how am I going to get the word out about my project, who am I going to target, and why are those people going to be excited about what I'm doing. Networking and team building. You know, in crowdfunding, there's so much to do that one person can't do it alone. You need to bring other people in and develop relationships that will ultimately help you raise that crowd and raise the money you need. You'll have to have good website development. You'll have to develop your profile and your video on the crowdfunding site. And then, frankly, at the end of it, you have to make sure that you fulfill all the rewards that you would offer people in exchange for the contribution they would be giving you. So I think what would be a good place to go is to Chris Labonte for the moment. And Chris, can you explain what rewards-based crowdfunding is and how it works for Houston and the audience? Because a lot of people might not know this contribution in exchange for reward model. So can you please share that with the audience?
Sure. So yeah, basically one of the main ways to crowdfund something is to do a reward-based campaign right now. And basically that means in exchange for certain contributions, you will exchange rewards later on once you can either build the product or get everything set up and ready. Generally, a rewards-based campaign has a lot more than one reward, usually anywhere from 5 to 15 rewards, all different prices, and they're all different. So that way you can apply to, you know, the person who just wants to kick in $1 as well as the person who may want to kick in 1,000. So it's also a great way for you to give an incentive and show your appreciation and also show your creativity. So.
Okay, so multiple rewards based on the different amounts of donations. Okay.
Chris, I think you're smart enough to. At your age, any more people your age brilliant like that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And so that's kind of a big overview. Any other specific questions just about the process in general? And feel free to fire away. Anyone who has a question, just go right ahead. No one at the moment? All right.
Not yet.
So, Paul, let me ask you, what is one project that you might be considering to raise money for? So, you obviously can raise money for your project in the traditional sense, but is there something you're working on that might apply to crowdfunding?
Well, I'm working on a lot of things. I have a second chance organization that will allow people I have an LLC on it that allow people to have a second chance. For a second chance LLC, FGA, for Gifted Americans, meaning that if you have a book that's going to be published, I have connections to that. If you have anything that you have desire to build it up, I have connections to anything, whether it's singing, acting, screenwriting, whatever your desire may be. I have parts where I can help you in that project that you want to be in. You know.
Excellent. So you're saying that you might not have your own personal project, but people who come to you for help might benefit from using this crowdfunding model. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Excellent. So yeah. So any questions that pop into your head for one of your clients, let us know. That'll definitely, you can jump in at any time. And so I'll ask the same thing to Dale. Dale, do you have any specific questions, or would you like me to go through a presentation and maybe that'll bring through some of the questions?
Yeah, go ahead and go through the presentation.
Perfect. Okay. So for the audience, I'm going to do a presentation called Crowdfunding Financing Your Small Business. And for those on the show, please feel free to jump in at any time with any specific questions that you might have. Does everyone see my presentation on their screen?
Yep.
Perfect.
Yes, I see it.
Perfect. So I'm gonna blow through a few things here, just because we've kind of talked about it, but to give you and the audience a really big indication of what's happening in crowdfunding and why it's something that is not a fad, but is in fact here to stay. Since this started really back in 2009, in the first year that it started in a big way, crowdfunding raised $1 billion a year globally back in 2009. Flash forward to the end of 2013, it grew to $5.1 billion a year annually raised through crowdfunding. So if you guys have ever seen the graphs of really quick growth, this shows the hockey stick momentum for crowdfunding. 3 weeks ago, we went to a conference, and they estimated that at the end of this year, at the end of 2014, it's going to be $7.1 billion raised. So what's happening is a complete revolution in financing. They're actually beginning to, this is putting a lot of strain on traditional financing organizations. And it's all coming because small businesses and entrepreneurs and creative projects, a bank will not always say no to a loan. Not everyone knows a wealthy person to give them a head start. So crowdfunding is amazing because this is people funding people directly. There's no middleman, so to speak. There's just a website that helps you do what you want to do through crowdfunding, but the traditional middleman is not involved anymore. So it's really an amazing momentum that's building. As I mentioned at the start of this, there is 9 stages to every crowdfunding campaign. And in case I went through it too quickly, you have the business planning, intellectual property, social media, PR, campaign strategy. And I have to update this slide because I kind of bundled these two: networking and team building, web development, profile and video, and really the last one should be fulfillment. But I have to update these slides. I apologize.
That's okay.
Yep. So to kind of show you exactly what I'm talking about here with physical examples of crowdfunding campaigns so that you guys can see what I'm talking about, there are websites that are strictly for donation crowdfunding. So the types of crowdfunding include donation crowdfunding, which is strict donation, and they're not offering any rewards. Most people who use this route have either had some sort of natural disaster where they have a serious family emergency. These are used by your traditional charities as well. And it's really for things with a really an emotional appeal that really helps people get through a tough time or through charities. So I'm not going to show you an example of these sites because really the really exciting one is the rewards crowdfunding overview. And because we have one of our sponsors on the show, I'm going to physically go to headfunder.com to show the overview so that you guys can see how this is laid out on one of their more successful projects that's live right now. So we're going to go to headfunder.com, which is a crowdfunding platform. I'm going to log in because I have been here before. And we're going to go to one of their platforms here that's raising money called the iPatch Case. So this project is a very hot project on Headfunder, and actually, Chris, maybe you can kind of go through how a crowdfunding campaign will look. Since this is your platform, I'd like you to kind of just walk me through this so that everyone kind of realizes what crowdfunding is.
All right. Well, generally for a rewards-based campaign, you want to do a video. So you'll have the video up top in the left right there, or your default featured image if you choose not to do a video. On the right is the project stats, what's going on with the project, shows how much Headfunders funded it, how many days there is left, and how much it's raised. And then if you scroll down,
Okay.
it's kind of lagging on my end, sorry.
No,
All
no
right.
problem.
You'll see the campaign creator on the right. Then you'll start to see the project description, which is all the images and like questions and stuff like that. The project description is very important since some people like to read versus just watch the video. And sometimes they'll go there to find out more information. It's really good to use images in your project description as it makes it more lively and fun. And it's good to cover the key points as well as key questions someone may be wondering. And then if you want to scroll down more, Manolis, I don't see the screen anymore. All right, now I do. You'll see the top head funders on the right, and then the most recent ones. And then if you keep scrolling, you'll eventually see the rewards on the right-hand side. And this is how most crowdfunding platforms are built. They have the rewards on kind of the bottom right. And then that's basically it. And then there's the comments as well as the updates once the campaign creator starts to do updates. It is important to update your backers and let them know what's going on with your campaign. That way they can feel more part of it, they feel safer, they feel like you're working on it, as well as, you know, you can update them, you know, we need help, like, you know, please share with your friends. It's a good way to, you know, get all the people who've already supported you and let them know what's going on and send them a message. So that's basically like the brief of a campaign and kind of what it looks like. So yeah.
Yeah. So Houston,
And,
for you.
and Noah is here, everybody. So.
Yeah, Houston, for you, I think one of the best ways to go about determining if you want to do a crowdfunding campaign or not is to research other authors who have had success in crowdfunding and kind of mirror a lot of what they did. So and maybe this was said in your book, Houston, but success leaves clues. So you don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel. You could just see what another successful person had done prior to you and mirror exactly the type of activities that they did.
Okay.
So does that resonate with you? That
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. So it's excellent. And actually, I'd like to say hi to Nolan Thompson. I see he just joined the Headfunder crew. How's it going, man?
Hi, everybody. It's going well. Sorry I'm a little late, but I made it.
No worries at all. No worries at all. So yeah, I'll just share the screen and we'll keep going through. I will show you, Houston, as well. As I mentioned, I want to show you also HubSlush just very quickly because they're also here. They do a lot for authors in particular. So I want to just show you that they have they have the authors, they have readers section, they have a community. So I can't log in to their site at the right this second, but you might want to look into them as well, just to double check, because they actually are trying to become the Amazon of crowdfunding for readers. I think that's kind of where they're going. They're providing like multiple services for authors, like in particular. So
Okay, I'll look into that.
Cool. So let me just double check here. We'll go back to the presentation. And so in a rewards campaign, the beautiful part of this, and actually we should actually look back at Headfunder for a second. The beautiful part of a rewards-based campaign is the fact that you as the project creator, when you're doing this type of a campaign, you're going to have to be the one that drives the traffic to the actual campaign. So the size of the crowdfunding website doesn't matter as much anymore, simply because they're all essentially relying on the project creator to actually promote the campaign. And so why this method is better than just listing it on Amazon, in my opinion, is because look what happens when projects go viral. This project has been going viral for a little while now, and you could see, I'm not sure if you see the writing here, but this has only been about 11 days, and it's been shared on social media 3,000 times. So Houston, like, if you were to execute a campaign effectively, and I know the guys at Headfunder help promote campaigns as well. If you were to execute a campaign successfully, meaning you had the video, I would never recommend anyone not doing a video in a crowdfunding campaign. Technically, you can do it, but if you don't have a video, it decreases your chances by like 50% to succeed.
Unless you're making potato salad.
Unless what?
Unless you're making potato salad.
Yes, of course. I keep hearing about that campaign. I still haven't seen it actually, but
you haven't missed anything.
Yeah, exactly. but this is the power of crowdfunding. It's called the network effect. So once you launch, if you've revved up a number of supporters, before you ever launch and you raise a lot of money within the first week, you're getting your friends, your family, your readers to really know that you're about to launch a campaign. You're going to ask them all to just be part of your team and essentially execute this viral nature where you're spreading your book and your campaign across all social networks. So this is why crowdfunding would work amazing for you, Houston, and that's why I wanted you on the show, because if you're hearing about it for the first time, as a young entrepreneur, you might even write, your next book might be Crowdfunding for Authors, a step-by-step guide. And you would sell a lot of copies. I'll tell you that much. So that's what I'm thinking for you. And so we'll get back to the presentation. Any other questions before I keep moving forward?
No, not for me. I'm enjoying it, looking, learning, observing.
Excellent. So as I mentioned, this bottom piece right here says, the reason why you do this 3 to 6 months ahead of time is because you want to build the momentum to reach 30% of your funding goal within the first week. And why is that important? Because statistics show that campaigns that do that have a 90% chance of raising the rest of their funding goals. They've built up so much momentum, they've lined up so many people who care about their project or idea that those people will help them carry them through the rest of the way just by sharing throughout social media and the network effect. So it's critical to really line it up 3 to 6 months ahead of time. What most people don't know in America, which is really one of the most exciting pieces of this, and I know that Headfunder is looking into getting into the equity side, but because of the success of the rewards-based side, now equity crowdfunding is coming into the picture where instead of it's a donation in exchange for reward, and that'll still occur on the websites that continue to do that, and it'll always be around, but new websites are allowing for investment in exchange for a purchase of a private company's stock, or investment in exchange for a loan, and a return on investment would be the interest rate on the loan. So now we're getting into capital markets, Securities and Exchange Commission, where private companies can actually raise money through the internet and actually give people ownership of their companies in exchange for the investment. So I'm sure that's a lot to handle. So you guys have got to have questions on that. What are your questions?
Crickets.
No questions at all so far?
When do you think it'll begin, Manolis, where anyone will be able to be allowed to?
Yes. So great question. So right now, what I'm thinking is the piece of this that is actually fully implemented is Title II. So the only type of crowdfunding that's going on right now that's fully legal is Title II equity crowdfunding, which is any entrepreneur can currently go to a website like AngelList, and we might as well show you how it works. We go to AngelList, and essentially any startup can 100% go on here, list their projects for free, and network with a database of thousands of investors who may want to invest in a private company. So, we have our own profile on here, and what we've been doing is we've been filling out, our own company's information, telling people what we're doing, But what's more important is the ability to follow people who are investors who will then follow you back. So let me show you some of the high impact people on here. You know what? Speaking of Shark Tank, what's his name? Mark Cuban? Mark Cuban is on here, and he has invested in companies through this angel list. He has his own little page, and he's investing. You know, he invested in Clarity, he invested in SlideShare, he invested in MixRank. So people who are high-impact investors are coming here so that they could find the next hot startup to invest in. So it is a form of crowdfunding. It's not your rewards-based crowdfunding. You're talking about actual direct purchases of company shares. So, you know, and literally, I mean, I'll look here. I don't know who contacted me, but you know, again, I'm talking to this guy, Steve Hoffman, and he's from Founders Lab, and he's inviting people to do his like accelerator, right? To join his accelerator. So you could actually find resources other than investments on these websites. It's amazing the networking opportunities that you can get just by going here. But the caveat of why this is legal right now is this: any entrepreneur can raise money this way, but only accredited investors can invest in these private companies at present. And for those who may not know what an accredited investor is, it's an individual that makes $200,000 a year or is worth $1 million in net worth, excluding their personal residence.
Currently.
Yes.
They're looking at taking that up to $500,000 per year for dual or for single income, $700,000 a year for dual income. Thankfully, there's been enough public dissent that they're looking into that and debating. But basically, they say it's because they haven't kept up with inflation since they initially set the rules. But now it's up for another review by the committee that is looking into it, that was set to look into it.
Yeah, and I mean, in my opinion, I hate the fact that they're even thinking of raising it. I mean, some people are even saying that the definition might even be dependent on some sort of certification, like being a CPA or something like that. That's just putting a lot of barriers to small businesses to raise money. You know what I mean? It's just kind of a, you know, who knows why they're doing it, but they're considering it. So hopefully that won't do too much. But the more interesting piece of this, as you mentioned, Chris, you mentioned that soon anyone, regardless of income, will be able to invest in a private company. So if that happens, that is known as Title III, which means only 8.7 million people in America are considered wealthy and meet the criteria of an accredited investor. But once Title III equity crowdfunding passes, they're lifting the requirement that you have to be accredited in order to invest. So when Title III, and to answer your question, Chris, it's looking like it's going to happen in October 2014 based on a government website that said that that's when they're anticipating it. They could always change that date, but as of right now, the published date is October 2014. Once that happens, a small business will be able to raise $1 million through equity crowdfunding, and anyone, regardless of income, meaning the remaining 300 million Americans, will be able to invest in a private company and purchase a share of stock or issue a loan to them, up to certain limits annually on how much they can invest. So let's say your income is below $100,000. The current proposed rules say you can invest $2,000 or up to 5% of your income for a total of $5,000 a year. Or if you make over $100,000, you can invest 10% of your income up to $100,000 a year. So we don't know if that's going to change anytime soon, but you know, another interesting thing to see what's going on, at least what's currently active, is Realty Mogul. These guys are doing crowdfunding for real estate transactions. So one of their most, you know, big time things they had on here was they were crowdfunding the Hard Rock Hotel in Miami. And so you can see here, you know, they're doing all this. Here it is, The Hard Rock Hotel. It got fully funded at $1.56 million. And again, the only people who could be able to invest here were accredited investors, people who are wealthy and are able, to meet that criteria. Any questions so far?
Yeah, you mentioned a lot of limits, and then I saw Title IV. Will Title IV get rid of those limits?
Frank, would you like to answer that?
Sure. Title IV is technically Regulation A+. It's basically designed to fix a mess-up back in 1933 called Regulation A, which allows a much smaller amount. I think it's up to $500,000, but strictly accredited investors. They're all it's very tied in still to the Title II. It's accredited investors only. Up to, I think they do have the potential of up to 35 non-accredited investors, depending on whether they go Regulation 506 B or C. It gets a little murky there, and they all kind of jump around and interoperate with each other, so it gets to be a mess. But basically, the purpose is to raise it up to $50 million and allow for general solicitation to the public, which means non-accredited investors. They are putting some respectable limits on the amounts that non-accredited investors can invest. I believe it's $10,000 or 10% of a maximum year's income, in any one investment. Which is a healthy, respectable, block. The goal is still not to have people just blow their incomes out on the sudden, basically, seemingly ability to gamble on the startup craze, and with a $50 million cap for the same amount of money, roughly about $30,000 to $40,000 is what it would cost to put on a Regulation A+ campaign. Oddly enough, that's the same amount that it would cost. They're assuming it will cost to run a Title III equity campaign to non-accredited investors, but that has a $100,000 cap. Why go for $100,000 when you can go for up to $50 million? That's basically the rough gist of it.
And then I have another question. You said that startups would only be able to raise $1 million. Do you think we'll run into any problems with that?
Well, the $1 million again is for the Title III. Title IV actually allows up to $50 million. So Title III is the one that is doing the $1 million, and so I actually kind of think that that's okay, and here's why. Title III is specifically for small businesses. The intent is not for big businesses to use this to raise large sums of money. Its original intent was this was going to be for the small businesses that can only raise up to $1 million a year. The problem with it, though, is in order to comply with the government regulations, potentially, they think it'll cost, let's say, $10,000 to $20,000 just to try to comply. So if you're a small business and you're only raising $30,000, you're not going to pay $20,000 to raise $30,000. It just doesn't make sense. You'd have to be a business that is a bigger business trying to raise probably $200,000 and above for you to be willing to pay $20,000 to actually do this. So it's a problem because of how expensive it might get to comply with the regulations. Does that answer your question, Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because what's cool too is someone should probably use the rewards-based model first. If your company is a company that would do well if they have a tangible product or service or some sort of reward that is tangible, then they should go through the rewards-based model before they ever try equity, because it proves it could be used as a proof of concept for them to have that ability to go through this method without having to go through all the securities laws. Because right now, donation and rewards, there's not that much that you have to comply with. You just have to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row in terms of the fulfillment, the manufacturing, and obviously you can't be fraudulent because otherwise you're committing fraud. So.
Do you think we'll see a mix of campaigns that offer rewards and equity?
We will. In fact, going back to the Hard Rock Hotel, not only were they offering a financial return as the reward, but anyone who invested in that got perks to say that I'm an owner of the Hard Rock, so I could bring my buddies into the back office, you know, like, come into my hotel, guys, here's the VIP section of the Hard Rock Hotel. So they were getting the perks of, like, being high rollers, so to speak.
I'm sure it attracted a lot of people, so
I know.
Pretty strategic.
Houston, you and Donald Trump would be rolling in the VIP section. Yeah, so that's essentially the equity side. I want to just kind of see if there's any questions, and actually also the audience, just so you know, you can submit a question if you're watching this through Google Hangouts on Air. If you follow the Circle of Reality Crowd TV, feel free to ask any questions at any time. Just type a question in, submit it. As long as you follow the Circle of Reality Crowd TV, you'll be able to actually submit that question. So either anyone can have a question, or do any of the members of our audience want to ask another person a question on our actual show? Crickets again. You guys are shy. All right. In that case, I'll go back to the presentation. 1 second. Was someone going to say something? I heard a gasp. No? Okay. No. All right, here we go. So again, equity, you could also do debt crowdfunding. So another example is Patch of Land. Patch of Land is one of our sponsors, and Patch of Land is a real estate crowdfunding platform doing lending on real estate. So, you know, if you're someone who's a real estate developer, you would come to this site and you would see that you know, that there's a lot of ways that you can raise money from people who want to lend on real estate. And these guys are so busy that they actually can't keep up with how quick things are getting funded. If you look here, last week I think they had 3 new investments, and all 3 of them got funded in 2 days. The demand was so quick that they all closed and raised. This one raised 100 grand. This one raised 130. This one raised 130. So real estate crowdfunding on Patch of Land is going extremely well for them. Royalty-based, this is actually lending in exchange for a return on the profits of the startup company receiving it. So this is another form of crowdfunding. An interesting example I'd like to
Just a quick comment on the royalty-based.
Sure.
That's starting to take off significantly. I was reading an article the other day in regards to mobile app development. There are a lot of mobile app developers out there that are, you know, having looked at all of, you know, I believe it's like basically right around 1.1, 1.2 million on each of the big app stores between Apple and Google Play, and looking at, you know, what actually makes money, what doesn't make money, and now they're expecting by 2020 that is going to be one of the largest platforms for making money and getting your app out there for higher-end apps that are developed with quality and actual usefulness, as opposed to being, you know, you pick pretty much any app out there. If you take it apart, you look at the code, it's very similar, if not verbatim, to 20 to 30 other apps out there between the Google Store and the same thing with the Apple Store. You know, they're just being reverse engineered. Couple of minor changes to the skin, a rebranding, and they're re-uploaded as their own. Oddly enough, none of those are making money. Some of them can draw an audience, you know, the Flappy Bird thing, you know, but, you know, Flappy Bird made money. All of its clones not doing so well. So the royalty-based is one of the big things. You know, get financed, get it built, get the app out there, and you make your money in the long term as a result of everybody getting a piece of that pie on the back end. So it's a form of equity by way of the royalties.
Very interesting, and actually, funny you mentioned that. We actually have another sponsor who is doing a crowdfunding platform for application development. So, like, this website, appcatalyzer.com, is crowdfunding for application development. I spoke to their founder. He's a really interesting guy. He's actually looking to raise a lot of funding to get his platform to the next level. But the interesting thing about this is the purpose he did this is you don't have to be a developer to make an application. What he's doing is if you just have a great idea for an app that should actually be there, you could crowdfund it on his site, just the idea, and then he has a database of pre-vetted developers that if one of the developers loves your idea and you got the necessary funding, the developer will come in and say, I see you raised $5,000, I like your idea, I'm willing to be paid $5,000 to actually do this. So they're matching great ideas with developers who have the credentials to actually make the app.
I like it.
It's such an amazing idea, like, because I have 100 ideas on apps, but I'm not a developer. I have no clue how it would be made. But if I had a great idea, I can just go to the site, submit my idea, make sure I get my investors lined up, you know, find a way to get the money raised, and suddenly this app catalyzer platform is pre-vetting high-quality developers to ensure that if I pay a developer, the guy's going to be good. They have to go through a stringent process, and people get screwed by developers, whether it's web development or app development, all the time. So it's important to have this kind of seal of approval that they're kind of doing, you know, because it really helps people just kind of get away from it. So isn't that pretty cool, Frank?
Yep, I like it.
Yeah.
I wish I had known about that about 2 years ago when I was doing mobile app development before I started working on the magazine.
No worries.
Might not have Crowdfunding magazine, honestly.
I mean, you guys are really good at web development, though. I know Headfunder, you guys are really good at it. I mean, what did you think of that idea?
I think it's pretty cool.
No.
I think it could definitely be useful to a lot of people who are trying to do apps.
Yeah. There should be the Houston Gun app, in my opinion.
We'll see. Bring it on.
Exactly. All right, we'll keep going here. And also, guys, if you guys need to leave because you have prior obligations, you don't have to feel bad about it. Totally understand. So no worries if you need to leave. Here's a great quote that really encapsulates, I think, what's happening in crowdfunding. A lot of times we talk ourselves out of wanting to do something that we really want to do as entrepreneurs. Maybe we're listening to too many outside influences. Maybe we just haven't really looked within ourselves and handled some of the fears that we have. But this quote, I think, encapsulates entrepreneurship to the max. If somebody offers you an amazing opportunity and you're not sure if you can do it, say yes, then learn how to do it later. I just love that, because within reason, you know, and I was talking to Paul Nuttall about this, you know, I will never beat LeBron James in a slam dunk contest, so that's not really reasonable for me to say that I'm going to beat him. But just about anything else in business, if someone offers you a great opportunity to try something and you've had prior success in business, but you've never tried this particular facet of business known as crowdfunding, you're going to learn how. Even if you don't know it, you will learn how to do it. So that's just something I always want to kick out there. I'd like to go into this stuff in detail. And maybe just share with you guys a few tools here. So, the business planning process. One of the tools that I've affiliated with is the Funding Roadmap, and this is a great site in order to really act as a checklist. It's specifically catered toward equity crowdfunding. However, it certainly can be used for rewards-based crowdfunding to get you kind of set up with it. So, just to kind of show people what it is, I'll just go over it very briefly. One of the key elements here is the business plan. So if you don't have a business plan for your main business, this tool has so many sections for you to go through that it'll fill in just about everything that you need to realize that you need to do. So I mean, do you have a unique value selling proposition? You know, you click on the link, and it acts as, it pops up questions that you're going to need to end up answering. You know, what is the company's value proposition? You type it in, you know, RTV. Okay? So, I mean, just as an example. So you just end up typing it up, you go through this process, and next thing you know, you have placeholders for exactly what your business is all about. This particular model, I transferred all my stuff out of it because I don't want to just disclose everything about my company. So that's why it's blank at the moment. But I filled out just about everything in here, and it helped me really start my business when I was just starting out 8 months ago. And so that's a great thing. Specifically for crowdfunding, they have the task and action plan. So the crowdfunding task and action plan gives you kind of a pre-launch checklist of things that you should begin doing from start to finish that will hopefully make you successful. This isn't an interactive interface. It really just gets you to think about things and how you're going to write it down. So when it says set up your Twitter account, it's a checklist. So it says set up your Twitter account, you do a few things, but ultimately you are driving the interaction with this tool. Placeholder tool to make sure that you did everything you need to do in order to get successful. If anyone is interested in this tool, you could go to the event page on Google Plus and you'll see the direct link to the actual page, and you can just click on that link and decide if you want to do a 7-day free trial. But I just wanted to share this tool with you. They are one of our sponsors. Any questions on that tool?
Yeah, what would be the incentive to fill it out and give them all the data?
So hold on one second here. What would be the incentive to go through the actual business planning tool?
No. I see how it's helpful, but what would be like that? What's the incentive for people to submit all the information to that website and give up the data?
Good question. Actually, here's another thing that they're doing on the back end. So let me just go back to that site. Is my screen being shared right now? No.
No.
Sorry. Let me just double check that. Good question. You're a tough one there, Chris Laponte. Hold on one second here. What they're going to do eventually is anyone who submits all the way through, they submit everything, is they get submitted to the deal flow marketplace. This is the hatchery is what they call it. So once everyone fills that out and they submit it, they get to actually show their companies through it. I'm not sure if I actually see that now, but let me just log in again, because I actually don't have access to that yet because I haven't submitted mine all the way through. But executive summary. So the submit button. Yeah. So the point that they're trying to do is they're trying to create deal flow for funding portals. They want to get experts and entrepreneurs to sign up to help entrepreneurs through this. So the incentive for an entrepreneur to fill this out is once it's all filled out, you get access to this deal flow hatchery that will essentially help you crowdfund. It'll help you crowdfund your own business. So that's really, oh, here it is. Maybe this is how you get there. Crowdfund hatchery.
They don't like have a way to do it on the weekend.
Let's see. Marketplace hatchery. So yeah, this is really where the hatchery takes place. Once you submit everything, you publish yourself to the hatchery, and that's where people can search for you and investors can search for you as well. Does that kind of answer your question of where they're trying to go with it?
Yeah.
And Lois, you also said that it's a 7-day free trial. What would you be paying for on that site? What are the perks that you get for paying?
So the 7-day free trial does not include credit card information. So you could try it without submitting a credit card. If you like the software after the 7-day trial, then you have to pay one annual fee to the company. I think that's either it's $99. So really the perk is, do you need that business planning tool or not? If you don't need it, then you wouldn't pay it. But if you like what it is and you need that for your business, then you probably would want to pay for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nolis.
Yes, sir.
Well, I just got to get going to my another appointment, so I just wanted to say thank you for having me on this, and anyone who wants to check out what I'm doing, they can go to my website, houstongun.com. And thanks for having me.
Awesome, Houston. Thank you for joining, man. It was a pleasure.
It was great. Thank you.
Expect us to be in touch from Crowdfunding Magazine also.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you. Bye.
Cool. See you later.
Bye.
Yep. Cool. So, does that answer your question, Nolan?
Yeah.
Cool. Are you guys thinking of making a business planning tool?
Well, we already have our business plan, but we'll check out the website and see if it would be beneficial.
Yeah. You guys are so entrepreneurial. I would imagine with your savvy you could create something really quickly for yourselves too. So market research, my friends, market research. So for you, Paul, did you have any questions on anything prior to you? I know you fell off for a second, but did you have any questions?
Yeah, no. Is Chris? Did he leave or he's still online? Or he take off a little bit?
Chris,
I want to ask him a question.
Chris Labonte?
I'm right here.
The book guy. That's not Chris, is it? That's I forget his name. He's online now.
Houston Gunn.
Yeah.
The entrepreneur writer.
Yeah, he left. That was Houston Gunn. Yeah.
Houston Gunn. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. All right, I'll head back to this presentation then. Well, actually, what was his question? Because what was your question? Because he'll be able to see the replay. So what was the question?
No, I was going to ask him. Is he like a personal writer that also write like novels, but not like nonfiction books and things like that nature? I was going to ask him that question.
Cool. We can connect you actually. I can connect you to him after the show if you'd like. Just so you could ask that question too. Awesome. So I'm going to go back to the presentation here. So the business planning is really getting all your ducks in a row. What are your current resources? Like, what is your social media look like right now? Who do you know in the PR world? Who are the likely people who want to help you succeed in this project? And is there a budget, or do I have to do all this bootstrapping? So it really gets down to the stage that every entrepreneur needs to go through. And a key thing that I'd like to stress is, whether you're an artist, a filmmaker, a creative type, or someone with a small business, the moment you go and try to raise capital, raise funding for your dream, you're an entrepreneur. Even if you don't like the title, that's what you are, and you need to treat this like an entrepreneurial endeavor. So this is fairly straightforward, the intellectual property. In a world where lawsuits are plentiful, and in a world where there's a lot of piracy going on, especially out of China, you want to make sure that you're 100% protected legally. If you can't afford it, I wouldn't let that stop you though, because a lot of people are so afraid of sharing their ideas that eventually they just never ever do anything about it because they're just terrified that someone will steal it. But you know, one of the most important things to note is, if you're out there first, that gives you some sort of legal protection to say, this guy stole my thing, you know. So if you're out there first, it is some form of legal protection. A great site that is a sponsor of ours, Karma Crowd, what they do is, if they believe in the physical product that someone's bringing and the person has not done a patent on it, let's say, what they'll do is Karma Crowd will actually incorporate some delaying of fees, because they're also patent attorneys. So they're patent attorneys with a crowdfunding platform, and if they believe in the product and they believe that you have a good patent, they might not charge you the total price or anything up front, but they will charge for it on the back end. So they might end up, you know, they might take it as an extra fee off of what you raise, but at least initially your patents will be protected, so you could confidently go forward with that without having to feel like it's going to get stolen. So that's another option if you're looking for that. Let's see. So we'll go to the next thing, social media. 3 to 6 months before you ever launch, you got to make sure you're doing your social media. Although like the initial, to me, the benefit of social media kicks in when you're actually making relationships with influencers, but then you're actually having conversations with people that you met over social media. So as a good example, I'm pretty sure that Frank and I only had a relationship initially through social media. Isn't that right, Frank?
Yep.
Yeah, we only met through social media, but then I happened to be at One Spark, and Frank, I think you're wearing the hat. Is that right? Yes. So it was a crowdfunding festival where Frank lives in Jacksonville, Florida, and we as Reality Crowd TV were an exhibitor on that. And so we built a relationship online, had conversations offline, then met each other in person in Jacksonville. So
don't forget Schmoozbiz.
Yeah, and Schmoozbiz. Schmoozbiz is another great friend of ours, Elin. Actually, I have to add him as a sponsor. Schmoozbiz. I forgot about that. And so the thing is, we all only knew each other from the relationships we built online. And so if you're just using social media to spam people and you're not building relationships by starting it online and then taking it offline, whether it's a phone call or an email, you're not using social media to its full potential. The reason why social media is great is if you only have a certain network in your local city or town where you live, you could technically expand your network globally by actually having meaningful conversation with people and then turning it into a phone call, turning it into an email. And if there's an opportunity where you can meet in person one day, that's the ultimate relationship connection, because when I see Frank in person, even though I see him now, when I met him in person face to face, you know, him and I fell in love. I'm just joking.
It really was hug at first sight and lots of coffee. While he was interviewing someone else. 5 minutes after I met him, I was holding his GoPro, helping him interview someone else.
Absolutely. You know, so like we just became really, really good friends. So, Frank, you're the man.
I think we met on Twitter, Manolis.
We did. Yeah, same thing. We met on Twitter, and now, you know, I can't wait till I meet you guys in person, either whether you come to New York or Connecticut or we come to Cali. But, you know, exactly. Like, I would have never met you guys if it wasn't for Twitter.
We should all meet in Houston.
Twitter.
Yeah. So, you know, and Dale, how did you and I connect, Dale? Do you remember?
Google.
It was Google Plus?
Yeah, Google Plus.
Yeah, there you go. And now you're on the show.
Yeah.
You know, Paul, how did I meet you, Paul?
Twitter.
Twitter. There you go. You see? None of us knew each other before social media. So now I hope you as the viewers understand that it's not about broadcasting. It's about reaching out, connecting, and chatting and having conversations. Because all of us are now seeing each other face to face, and I mean, heck, I like what I see.
Yeah, I think sometimes Twitter like encourages relationships because you can only send 140 characters, you know, and you're like, this is a good conversation. I wish I could send something more, you know. Email me, you know.
Right.
So it's almost like their short, limiting character thing, you know, encourages you to, you know, meet each other. It's kind of weird. I don't know.
Yeah, I need to talk to Nolan more often. I talk to you way too much, Chris.
I know. I need to talk to him.
No, you guys are right though. I mean, it's and actually for everyone who does a crowdfunding campaign, everyone should try to use the Google Hangout mechanism. You don't have to do a live on air. You could do a private thing, but I like everything out in the open. But technically, you know, having a hangout like this where you see people face to face is just so powerful. I mean, you can make a team member who believes in your cause or your project from across the country or across the world who suddenly is going to help you crowdfund your project.
Right.
And the reason why they would do that, number one, you're educating them on crowdfunding, which is a value add in itself. The fact that people are just beginning to hear about it, if you know a lot about crowdfunding and you can provide the value of educating someone else on it, they will want to help you because you're providing value and education.
Right.
But on top of that, it's also reciprocation, right?
Right.
You don't want to just always be taking. In fact, you should be giving 80% of the time, and you know, never really taking. I mean, you know, just reciprocation. That's how it should work.
Is Frank there?
Yeah, I think they might have dropped off by accident. I'm not sure what happened there. But yeah, maybe he's going to talk to Nolan right now. Who knows? But yeah, so let's head back. Unless Dale, do you have any initial? Actually, Dale, share with us your experience with crowdfunding. I know that you had you tried a couple times, so give us your experience on crowdfunding and how you see it and kind of lessons learned for yourself or struggles that you had or successes. Give me your experience.
Well, I have tried on QuickFunder. Actually, John McAfee, he had wanted me on QuickFunder, and he had Tom, the owner of QuickFunder, call me up and tell me that John McAfee wanted me on there. I'm like, okay. So he saw one of the other campaigns I had. I had it like on ucaring or whatever.com at first, and that didn't work out. It got, I don't know, it got shuffled to the back or whatever, and no one saw it. So anyway.
Yeah, and actually, you know what? I'm going to share my screen and go to QuickFunder real quick because I think you sent us the link of your campaign. So let me just kind of look at that. I'll bring it up for everyone to see here. Hold on 1 second. Okay.
That was it. Yep.
So here it is. So QuickFunder is another crowdfunding platform, and you know, they're also a sponsor of ours too. So this was your research, and you set up a campaign here. You have 7 days remaining, and right now you were only able to raise 23. No worries, man. It's hard. Crowdfunding is not easy. You know, and it's not easy too with limited resources as well. You know.
Right. Well, I've already sunk a lot of money into the business myself, and it left me with basically debt and. You know, I spent what about $97,000, and still, you know, I'm still carrying a lot of the debt yet too. So, and I had to do it out of my own pocket rather than crowdfund. So now I'm
interesting. So, and I see here you don't have a video, but you know what just popped into my head.
What?
If you don't have a budget to do a professional video, what we're doing right now is going to be recorded. So I mean, to even increase the quality of the next one you do, maybe we could even do just like kind of like an interview through Google Hangouts on Air if that's the only thing that you have to use. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, can you hear me or?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just wondering because I had a phone pop up in the middle here, so I was like wondering what was going on. But you can, yeah. Anyway, what I do is I do cancer research and stuff. I've researched H1N1 viruses and stuff for the CDC. And a few years ago they had the swine flu vaccine, or the swine flu that came out, and I came up with a vaccine for it, and they basically all I get from my work is thank you letters, but they don't pay my bills. So, yeah, but I mean, the electricity per month costs a lot, and all the internet and everything, and
yeah. I mean, I hear you. It was so you were specifically funding. You were doing a campaign to.
I'm doing computer modeling basically of viruses and stuff, and since I'm I've been an IT person for ages, and I taught at college and stuff, and I've taught Cisco, I've taught web classes, I've taught a lot. I've taught Microsoft Server and everything else, so I'm very familiar with computers. So,
Wow.
and that's I started this because of my dad died from cancer, and so did my sister, and that's why I started all this. So.
Wow.
So I was losing my family left and right, and that's why I started it.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Dale, and I mean that's why you know your research is critical, and that's the piece of the crowdfunding model that sometimes is a little distressing, and I'm sure for you too, right? It's probably distressing because you're doing so much good, but why aren't you getting funded? You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's the formula. So that's kind of the formula that people are trying to figure out is like it's becoming abundant that no matter where you go, big platform or small platform, the funding portals, at least most of them, will not do most of the promotion for you. You know?
Right.
Is that what you kind of realize, that that they don't really do too much promoting?
Right.
Yeah. Which means this is why we're doing our show is
right.
If the portals are not going to do as much promoting, then we need to equip people like yourself and entrepreneurs with the tools and resources so that they know how to promote themselves, because just because someone isn't doing it for you doesn't mean that your dream should stop, you know?
Right.
What is your guys' thoughts on this, Chris and Nolan?
Well, that's why we got into the industry, because we saw that the platforms were lacking in promoting their campaigns unless they got over a certain threshold. So we really wanted to change that up, and that's why we help as many people as we can through our platform.
Yeah. Absolutely, and I will say that you guys at headfunder.com, from a customer service perspective, I think you guys do a lot. You know, you guys do more than most platforms that I know to really help people. I mean, you guys want to share kind of some of the stuff that is unique about Headfunder that could help people crowdfund?
Yeah. Well, we have private messaging on our site, which allows you to direct chat with Chris or myself. That way you can have your questions answered right away. We also do a lot on social media. We have a pretty big social reach. So if a campaign creator is promoting their campaign, we do our part to help promote it with our large social reach as well. And we're just very helpful, very supportive. We are sending letters out to campaign creators and people who are backing the campaigns. We really want to be involved with the people who are here at the start with us. So we think that our relationship that we build with these campaign creators and contributors will be long-lasting. And that's what we really try to focus on, is being more social with the people who use our site, because they're going to be the ones that either make us or break us. So we really cherish our users.
Absolutely. Do you guys play Boys to Men for them? You cherish them so much? I'm just joking.
Only once. Only one time.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, even like with a big social reach in us, you know, we still can't fully, you know, help promote the campaigns, you know, which sucks, and you know, and no one really can right now, you know. So working really hard on building some tools that on all platforms, you know, be able to really help our campaign. We're releasing one of our main tools that we've been working on for quite a while on Tuesday. So we're pretty excited about that, and we think it's going to really help crowdfunding campaigns on pretty much every site. And we also had another idea yesterday that we may pursue that we think will really help crowdfunders with social media. So we're working hard as we can to, you know, provide the tools and then give them to people, and if they want to use them, you know, they can. So it's something we're looking to like expand past crowdfunding and, you know, give ways to help market and stuff, you know, because there's definitely a huge there's something missing there. You know, there's really no free marketing tools online to do for your crowdfunding campaign, really. You know, so.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've been chatting with you guys about some of the things you're doing, and I'm excited for Tuesday. I can't wait. I know that I'm gonna, if I think it's what I think it is, I'm gonna be using it to promote my show, this show. So yeah. I would love to be one of your first customers, because I'm pretty sure I know what you guys are trying to do. So, good stuff. You know what too? Like here's something as well that I'd like to kind of share is what I'm noticing, and tell me if you guys think I'm wrong, but and I'm going to get philosophical with everyone on the audience and the people in the show. I'm going to get a little philosophical. The way I see the world is, if somebody has done something and has achieved something, it means that I could possibly do it too. I think people, like, some people just see someone do something and they're like, how did they do that? I see someone and say, I want to do that, or I truly believe I can do that. But that shift of mindset to say that he did it, so that means I shouldn't do it, or he did it, that means I can do it. The mindset, the mentality that is needed to succeed in business in general is something that that I think is also missing in the crowdfunding world. Because what the phenomenon that I see happening is, people hear about crowdfunding, crowdfunding leads to hope, and then hope is leading to action, which those three things in itself are not bad. That's actually great. The fact that people are seeing crowdfunding as a way to rekindle their dreams is the most beautiful thing that I've seen, and that's why I love what's happening in this industry. But what I also see is happening is that action is only based on hope. It's not based on knowledge or education, and it doesn't mean that that one shouldn't continue acting, right? But the action should be first on education. The action should be first on, let me understand the complete picture. Let me understand what the steps are in this process. And maybe even before all those things, maybe the true question should be, let me understand myself first. Like, what am I doing this for? Why am I going out there, putting myself out there for everyone to see, asking people to support my project? What is my real motivation? Why am I really doing this? If the motivation is because I want to raise money, then it's the wrong motivation to do crowdfunding. The motivation to just do it for the money, you should not crowdfund if that's the case, because people will see that you're only doing it for the money. When time gets tough, people who are only in business or in anything just for the money will give up, because they have no greater purpose to why they're doing what they're doing. So what I see is missing, not only in crowdfunding but in business in general, and maybe this is where there's a need that needs to be filled. There needs to be a process to build people up to a level where they're doing things for the right reasons. No one can say what the right reason or the wrong reason is. Maybe money is the right reason for someone, and because that's the reason, they do good. But maybe it's the wrong reason for them, because it makes them give up when times get tough. So, like, to me, the greater issue is, why is all this happening in the first place? What is the root cause? It's a lack of education, not only of the process, but perhaps a lack of education of why someone is about to engage in this in the first place. I'll open it up to you guys. Do you think that there is anything that I said is right or wrong with what I just said?
Yeah, I think education is lacking in crowdfunding, absolutely. So.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Crowdfunding is a really fresh industry, so when people are new to it and they just see, oh wow, these people are raising money.
Hello? You guys still on?
I'm still on.
Oh, looks like they're lagging a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, it's been lagging every now and then.
Yeah.
But basically, I feel the same way you do. I'm not in it for the money. I'm in because I want to help people. I want to see people survive cancer or whatever. It's not about the money. I've already sunk most of it in there anyway. So
Yeah,
that's what,
absolutely. And so Dale, I mean, one thing I think for the next time, if you decide to launch a campaign again, is before you launch, first kind of execute more of a strategy where you kind of inform a lot of your people about it, including us. Like we are now part of your tribe, right? So the next time you decide to launch a campaign, if this one doesn't work out with the time you have left, you're gonna want to go through the 9 stages, and maybe it'll take longer for it to launch, but you might have greater success if you do it that way. Because one of the main issues is socializing people as to what crowdfunding is. We know what it is, Dale, because you've tried it. We're in it, but the people who you want to support you probably have no clue what it is.
Yeah. Well, I did hear some feedback from and somebody thought I was I was a fraud or whatever, and didn't whatever. But I mean, that's that's probably because of how I just threw the project up there, and this is my first time into it. It's like, well, I wasn't sure what to do, and because crowdfunding is a new field, and I haven't been in it before. So, I mean, I've been in investing and sales and everything else before, but not this.
Yeah, and that's why the fact of the matter is, I applaud you for action. I applaud you because you had the guts to do it in the first place. Most people would never even get to the point to do it, right? But and you still believe in it, knowing now more from your experiences with it. So, what you're on the verge of doing is, your dream is so great, your passion is so great for the research you do, because it hits a chord with you, with your family. And so, to me, what is happening with you is you're not going to give up until it happens.
No, I'm not going to give up anytime soon.
Absolutely. So Chris and Nolan, are you guys still there?
Yeah. Can you hear us or see us?
Yes, we can. Sorry, it was lagging a little bit. What was the question I asked you again? Forgot what that was.
Why we're so awesome.
Why are you guys so awesome?
I'm kidding. I'm not sure what you asked us, Manolis.
We were asking you, do you guys agree that the education gap and the whole I think it was about the lack of education.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I definitely think it's horrible right now. We're going to be redoing our academy soon to try to make it a lot better for people to learn. Because I think that's definitely one of the steps that's missing in a lot of the platforms is the learning aspect. So I think we need to focus, as a whole entire industry, all platforms, we need to focus on how to teach how to crowdfund better and provide a better learning experience and something more visual than text, I think. So that's something we're working on. And we're still learning everything about crowdfunding too, as founders of a crowdfunding platform, there's still a lot we have to learn. In every single campaign that comes into Headfunder, we learn at least something, why it's working, why it's not working. So I think it's a learning experience for us all. So.
It is. Basically, we don't stop learning until we die, so,
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe there'll be a learning opportunity after we're gone. Who knows what happens later on.
That's a whole other story.
Yeah, let's not think about that right now.
That's a different hangout.
Yeah, exactly. So let me just quickly go through the rest of this just real quick. So we got the social media, which is we talked about. The PR is critical, and so you really want to take stock of who are your resources in public relations and how do you get them to want to write about you. But one of the things that I like as a tool leading up to the launch of a campaign is marketwire.com. It does cost some money to send out a press release through this, but if you send out a press release through MarketWire, I believe the cost is between $180 and $300 per release. But immediately it'll link to 200 other websites, including large websites like Yahoo Finance, MarketWatch, Reuters, and others. So, you know, it's good to do leading up to your campaign, but it's also good to do on day one of your campaign, because you're going to get a lot of traffic just because it's an automatic linkage back to your page. Campaign strategy, of course, Google Hangouts I think is one of the best things. Live events, maybe you host an event launch party. Industry events, you know, for you, Dale, maybe in the medical industry, there might be some cancer research events that you might want to attend. And then if you have existing customers, same thing. Utilize your existing customers. Maybe you do some sort of customer appreciation month and ask your customers to actually fund the campaign as opposed to the normal sales process. Networking and team building, totally critical. You have to build a team around you. It's just impossible for one person to do it all. And you know, you need to find the team members that care about your campaign. I mean, not just your campaign, rather, you need to find the team members that care about the mission of what you're raising the money for. You know, if you find someone who really also had a similar situation where their family was hurt from cancer or they're going through it, those are your target market to build a team on. You want to find other people who care because they can relate to what your campaign's all about. So you might be able to network with people in the cancer research industry or people who've been devastated by cancer, and they would say, I want to help you, Dale, because I've gone through the same exact thing.
Well, there are some success stories on that too. I mean, the work I have done has helped doctors customize their treatments for, you know, to help the patient, and they have succeeded. They've put them in remission. So
that is amazing. Is that from you, Dale? Is that noise coming from you? Oh, sorry.
I don't know what that noise
I'm sorry. There's somebody working doing landscape outside. So.
Oh, okay. No worries. No worries at all. So yeah. So in that case, then you're right, though, Dale. So yeah. So the people that you've helped, you should be going out and asking them to help you.
But I don't see, the problem is I don't know who they are. They're just a number to me, because the work I do is, you know, is basically there's a HIPAA law. You know what I mean?
Oh, so
you're familiar with the HIPAA law and stuff?
Yes.
They can't. They're just a file number to me, even though I know I've helped people out already. But I can't. I don't know who it is.
Okay. But let me ask you this, because maybe this could be a breakthrough moment for you. So you can't contact them, but let me ask you a question. Who could you contact to help you who could potentially care about what you're doing? Like where?
Cancer survivors, probably.
Okay, and where would you find cancer survivors?
Probably American Cancer Society or.
Okay, and how would you find where to contact the American Cancer Society?
Website. I've already talked with them before, so but I don't know if some people do want to promote stuff like that, but some don't, and they choose to remain anonymous and stuff. So it's really kind of hit and miss.
Okay. So if one person says no, though, have you continued to contact different societies or different people?
No, not really. I've just tried it a little bit, and I just kind of gave up because no one really responded. So.
Okay. No, I mean, you know, it's not fun. Trust me, it's not fun getting rejected for help. and I'll just tell you a personal story that maybe might resonate. When I first started in crowdfunding back in October, I joined the Crowdfunding Professional Association, I joined the Crowdfunding Intermediary Regulatory Association, and I joined the National Crowdfunding Association. And I joined it because I wanted to learn as much as I could about what was going on in equity crowdfunding and in rewards crowdfunding. I wanted to see kind of the who's who of the industry, who are these people that have been here for a while. And initially, when I tried to reach out to talk to them through the emails and through social media, just about all of them said, who the hell is this guy trying to create a reality TV show about crowdfunding? They're like,
Really?
who is this whack job trying to create this like TV show, right? So,
Yeah.
you know, most of them declined me. But you want to know what I told myself, Dale?
Hmm.
I said, every no is one step closer to a yes.
Yeah, that's true. You're getting your name out there, and you're getting.
Yes. Every no is one step closer to a yes. And what else I realized too is that I began doing this, and it, you know, it's kind of hard to ask this question, but I love asking it because it gives me the most feedback. Whenever I got a no, I then would go to the person and say, you know, hey, Jimmy Johnson, whatever your name is, you know, why don't you want to schedule a call with me? Was there something I said? Is there some reason why you're not wanting to collaborate at this time? And so I asked that tough question, and they actually responded very truthfully. They said, tell you the truth, you're a little bit pushy, Manolis. You know, you're trying to kind of like bust in here without following the established protocol. You need to kind of, you know, temper your enthusiasm, which I hate it when people tell me to temper my enthusiasm. But what that did is I said, okay, so in this particular group, there is a certain culture that the only way you can get anywhere with anyone in this group is by knowing the culture and following the rules. Even though if you don't agree with the rules, if you want to talk to these people, this is the rules they follow, so you have to be almost like a chameleon and say, okay, this isn't me, but for now I'm going to follow their rules so I actually talk to them, right?
Right.
So I then began following their rules, and now all of them, I'd send out an email to any one of them, and they'll all respond to me now.
Right.
It took months to do that, but it was a concerted effort for me to realize that not everyone's going to say yes, but it also could be my fault that I'm not knowing how to contact them properly. And if I don't know what I'm doing wrong when they say no, but because I don't ask or I don't try to figure out what did I potentially not do that is causing them not to respond, I would have just never been able to talk to anyone in this industry. And because I talk to these people, they're now helping me. Now I'm friends with them, and we talk about the issues. They've educated me. I've educated them. It wouldn't have happened any other way. So I wanted to share that with you to say that if you give up, then you're not only giving up on contacting people, but you're giving up on your project.
Yeah, that's true. I'm very familiar with what you're saying because I used to be an insurance salesman. I used to deal with intangible sales all the time and going door to door, actually selling cancer policies of all things. And I used to do investments too. I used to sell annuities, whole life term and all that. I was licensed in lines A, B, and X or whatever. But I mean, I've been in the field and it's going door to door. It isn't fun. You do want to give up, but I didn't have any choice. I had to.
Yeah, I mean, door to door is not fun. But now the beauty is you don't even have to go door to door. You can do it from anywhere now.
True.
Yeah. But you're right. Like, so in other words, I'm only telling you that because I care about you, Dale, and I want you to think that if you stop contacting people, that means you've given up on your project.
That's true.
I mean, you know, maybe there's not a direct link, but you've realized that just putting a project online is not going to get funded, so it's going to take work to get it funded.
Right.
Yeah, that's the only point I want to make.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll just keep going here. Unless the guys at QuickFunder, do you guys have anything to add?
Sorry, the mic was muted. And Headfunder.
Oh, Headfunder. Sorry. Headfunder, my bad.
Yeah, I would say just don't give up, you know. If it's your dream and that's what you want to do, don't give up.
Yeah. Well, I won't.
Awesome. So yeah, we'll keep going here. We'll be almost through. Let's see what we got here. So website development, you know, you want to have a strategy for pre-launch, during launch, and post-launch. Pre-launch, you might want to incorporate landing pages to collect information of potential donors to your campaign. So some websites that I've seen, and you guys can tell me if you've seen other landing pages, but I'll try to go to one of them that I saw. Launchrock.com. This is, I think, a free landing page where you could kind of collect a bunch of information. So it says here, collect interest and build an audience before you launch.
Yeah, but
so go ahead.
I'm sorry, but they put their like Launchrock thing all over it, which I don't think is cool.
Oh, so in other words, it's basically branding them more than it brands you?
Yeah, if you don't want to be branded by Launchrock, check out one good alternative is SeedProd.
SeedProd?
Yeah.
.com?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not free, but it has a lot of stuff that a lot of people really like. You can give special referral links to each person who subscribes to, you know, so they can track how many subscribers that person can get. It's been used by a lot of different websites, and you can import it right to MailChimp and stuff. So.
Very cool. I like this. I'm gonna have to.
I don't know. I just personally don't like when you get some type of software or product and they put their name all over it. You know, I think that kind of like defeats the purpose of branding your brand.
Yeah, interesting. So in other words, you're silently saying that I shouldn't have branded my screen for this show.
No, you framed yourself again. Oh no.
I'm just joking.
Well, no. You're fine, but it would be like I don't know.
No. I totally get you. I just made a stupid joke. I totally get what you're saying, though. I would rather have it be, if I created a landing page for Reality Crowd TV, I wouldn't want Launchrock to be anywhere on there. I would want them to assume that I created this myself as opposed to somebody else creating it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's sometimes what you get when you go with free stuff, you know.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, that's their revenue model.
We have one application phone application that's crowdfunding on our site, and our new guy Justin, he actually built the website. It's pretty cool if you want to check it out. It's bashapplication.com.
Bashapplication.com?
Yeah. And it's basically going to be an app to find people, meet people, and party with them.
Wow, okay. So they're going to get crowdfunded on your site?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. So you know what? I want to be invited to the party, so I'm going to sign up real quick. Bada bing, bada boom. No, that's a pretty cool website, though. I love how it's a moving picture.
And then there's it's a video, and then there's a contact thing on the bottom too. If you want to get in touch with them.
Cool. Why don't we do that then? Chris. Am I human? Yes, I am. 363. Send. There we go. Cool, man. So did they use? So is bashapplication.com? Is that a landing page that they use the seed thing on, or no?
They didn't use SeedProd on that. I have to ask him what he used. I'm not exactly sure, but I could definitely find out and let you know. But it is similar to SeedProd, you know.
Okay, sounds good. So just to go back to this presentation real quick, so you.
Sorry.
No, that was actually great, Chris. That was value add. So thank you. So what happens here is you want to be able to collect information before you launch. During the launch, I would recommend just redirecting all the traffic to your normal website that you built up to your crowdfunding campaign website, because technically your crowdfunding campaign should have all the information from your website on it anyways. So that way you just funnel all the website traffic directly to the campaign to hopefully raise more funds. And then finally, post-launch, you definitely want to be able to, become a legitimate business afterwards, whereby if you do have a product that you're crowdfunding, you want to use your new website, your post-launch website, as an e-commerce platform so that you can continue with your business going forward.
Yeah, definitely, and that's also one of the reasons why I mentioned seed prod, is because you can actually work on your site in the background while everybody is getting redirected to that landing page. You can be working on your site, and you can also make a special link where you can send people to get access to the site. So if you want feedback from developers or designers before you launch your main site after your crowdfunding campaign, you can send them the special link and they can take a look at what your website really looks like, and they can bypass the coming soon page, which I think is a super cool feature, and it could be helpful for a lot of sites. So.
That is really cool. Awesome, man. I really like that. So then the next stage is your profile and video. Again, if you could put a video on there, absolutely, in my opinion, it's required. And so no matter what the quality is, you should always put some sort of video, because people want to see who they're contributing to. It's almost like it's not real unless I see the person. You know what I mean? It causes a lot of concerns. Yeah. So,
I think even if it's a small campaign and you're expecting to get funds from strangers, even take your cell phone, and just do a little minute video. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you should have something, because it builds a huge personal touch.
Yeah, and people just it automatically puts a face to the cause or the product or the service, and it shouldn't be this way, but it is. It just clearly it is that a picture in this case is not worth 1,000 words. A video is worth 1,000 words. It's absolutely critical, and so you want to make sure that in the video, again, it doesn't have to be as long as it's a video. The who, what of yourself, your team, and your business. Where are you located? What are you going to do? And how are you going to, how are the donors going to receive their rewards? Really, what is your pitch? Why should anyone care? And so you might want to mention a personal story about yourself for a short time, but the majority of your video should be focused on what's in it for the backers, what's in it for the donors, because if it's from the perspective of what's in it for me, as the project creator, then everyone's just going to think it's all about you, when it should be catered to them. It's all about them. They're becoming part of something greater than themselves, and that's why they should back this. And with the profile and video, before you ever launch a campaign, always get feedback before you ever launch, because again, you might think you're talking in the language of the donors, but someone might read it and say, honestly, it's not really eliciting a lot of emotion, or it's not really helping me see why I should back this. So feedback about the campaign, and just about every website has a preview link that you could send to your friends, family, and backers to really get the attention. And in general, you want to make it 3 to 4 minutes long, because attention spans, unfortunately, are not that large. And then finally, fulfillment. Some mistakes that people make is they don't figure out how much it's going to cost to manufacture their product beforehand. And in a way, maybe that's because they just don't think that that's something they should do, and that's just completely false. some people might say the reward is at the $50 level. You know, for $50 you'll get this, but they didn't do the research, and it turns out the $50 reward costs $100. And so that's when you get people who may not even mean to do this, but their negligence in figuring out what it costs to actually fulfill on their rewards could be considered fraud. I mean, you know, the line between I didn't know as an excuse and you should have known is very fine. And so most people will say you should have known that if you were offering this reward, you should have done all your due diligence to be able to actually fulfill on this. So if you're found in a court that this is gross negligence, meaning you should have known, and so you were grossly negligent that this occurred, you could be charged with fraud or be sued. So it's so important, this last stage, that before you ever launch, you have all these ducks in a row, or else you're talking about major issues. So for anyone who wants to see this this presentation, anyone either live here or watching in the audience, we would be happy if you were to email us at realitycrowdtv.com and fill out a contact form. We would be happy to just send you those presentations that were just shown through email, so that if you were watching and you didn't have time to write it down, all that is free. I'll give it right to you, and I'd be happy to do that. So that leads us kind of towards the end of our day. Any last questions or comments from anyone? Dale or Chris and Nolan, any last question or comments?
It may. What?
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Have you ever thought of putting all the guides on your website, Manolis?
Yes, I have. And because I'm having issues with my website, that's definitely on the docket. I should definitely do that. But I would like people to contact me as well, because it shows me, you know, so actually, you know what, I could do that. I could say contact me and you'll get the 2 presentations. Mm-hmm. Like on the website, I'll say if you fill out this thing, it'll be an automated message, and people can kind of contact us. So I really want to get to know people as well. You know, and I want to see the people who actually watched. So if someone were to actually contact me, I don't have metrics to know exactly who's watching. So it would show me that this person obviously watched because they sent me a request for the presentation.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And Dale, you were going to say something?
Oh, I know I know a lot of what I do. I should probably put it into video, because to make it more believable, I work with highly specialized hardware and stuff. I have data processing cards that cost like $6,000 a piece and stuff, just to show everybody. I mean, how much things cost. This is highly specialized computer servers and equipment that I use to do all this work with. So
yeah, I mean that's what I mean. If you were even to just take a camera and walk the audience through the operation you have to do the research, because again, seeing is believing.
That's true.
You know, and so you're right. Actually, you came to that conclusion on your own, Dale. I mean, yeah, if you show people the lab where you do the research, or the place where you do the research, and you put it together that way,
yeah,
it would be so much more effective than just a picture.
Right.
Yeah. And actually, we've been on the presentation that I haven't seen. I haven't seen the questions. We have a question from Cheryl Gelling, and Cheryl Gelling, her question is: have any of you worked on crowdfunding an epic event like a World's Fair? We are launching one in Los Angeles. So she's talking about crowdfunding events. I'll put this to Headfunder, because I know you guys have done some events on your website. You want to answer that question?
Yeah. Well, we crowdfunded one event so far, and we have some more coming. we were able to rent out the VIP at this one club called Yost Theater. So yeah, events are great to crowdfund, you know, and then you get a really good taste of who's coming, you know, and it helps show everybody, you know, oh, like 50 people have already backed the event, you know, these people are already coming, you know, I want to be part of it, you know. So it's definitely a great way, and we'd love to talk to you, Cheryl, and see how we could possibly help you.
Cool. Yeah, and actually Cheryl Gelling, I just looked back because the name sounds so familiar, and I'm like, Cheryl Gelling, who is that? Cheryl actually had contacted us a while back, so Cheryl, I'd love to follow up with you just to kind of catch up, because I'd love to hear what you're doing with the World Fair. You know, maybe Headfunder can help with that, or
we're in Orange County too, so we're close by to Los Angeles. So.
Yeah, the guys at Headfunder are right in Los Angeles, so that would be perfect, where you could actually meet them face to face. Again, you know, meeting through social media and then meeting face to face. That's what it's all about.
One day we'll meet, Manolis.
We will. One day our day will come. So, all right. Well, if there's no further questions, it looks like there's not. I'd like us to kind of sign off. So I'll give everyone on the live call just kind of a last word. So I'll go with you, Dale. Any last words for your experience and the audience today?
Not really.
Cool. Well, honestly, thank you. Thank you for joining us. I know you're going to do really well on your campaign. It's just a matter of time, Dale. And so never ever give up on that, because you're doing something that's so important for society.
Yeah.
Definitely. And so then, Chris and Nolan, last words for the audience?
Thank you, everybody who watched. Feel free to contact us if you want to get more information, and thank you for having us on your show, McNullis.
Yeah.
You got it, guys. Thank you again for joining us. You know, you guys have been on, I think, three episodes in a row. I think you guys are rock stars. So thank you again. And so for you, the audience, I really appreciate it. Without the audience, Reality Crowd TV would not be able to do what we're doing. I want to thank my sponsors, thank my guests. And until next time, dream it, believe it, achieve it. Have a great day, everyone.